Okay, so you've got a girl's number and it's now time to text her. And now remember, when you got her number, you also got your number in her phone. That's extremely critical, right? Go back and recheck the section on getting a solid number if you're not doing that, all right? You got your number in her phone. Very, very important. It makes everything else much smoother. Okay, so maybe you sent her a text with your name. Maybe she replied, maybe she didn't. Or maybe you had her call you and save the number in her phone, whatever it is. You know that when she gets that text, it's going to come up with a name on it, not just a bunch of random digits. That's super critical, okay? So now we're talking the first real interactive text from there. Now, what do you send? How do you know what to send? Well, the first key criteria is how good was the initial interaction, okay? Think of it as how much social capital did you create in the initial interaction. If it was one of those things that was really amazing, you spent a really long time together, she was chasing you, she wanted to take you home, but she just couldn't because her friends wouldn't let her or whatever, and you even had arranged at the time of, hey, we're gonna hang out later, we're definitely gonna do this. In that case, you might be able to go pretty straightforward and pretty much straight to making plans. In that kind of case, if it's really good, I might even text something as forward as, hey, what are you up to tonight? Okay, that's a pretty forward text to send, but in a context where everything's really good and it's a green light and the implication is that it was that good already, you can get away with something like that. However, on the other side, let's say that it was a situation where you talked to the girl for 5 minutes very quickly, she was running to work, you couldn't really get to know her very well because you had that constraint on your time. And you kind of rushed getting the number. You got your number in her phone still because you always do that. But that's about all you can say about it. In that case, something as forward as, hey, what are you doing tonight? Every once in a while it'll work because you'll be surprised. Sometimes numbers that seem very not solid will be very solid. But what's going to happen a vast majority of the time in that case is you probably just won't receive anything back because you tried to spend more social capital than you really had. Okay, so in that case, probably what you want to do is send something like fun, friendly, something maybe a little funny, maybe an update of your life that makes it seem really cool, something along those lines where the idea is that you're building social capital rather than trying to capitalize on it. You're not trying to get her out on a date just yet. You're mostly trying to just initiate and establish rapport, establish an interaction of some kind. Okay, so that's kind of polar opposites. On one end, you have it's so good I can kind of just go straight for plans. I mean, obviously, in a fun, positive, non-needy, non-pushy way. But you can go pretty much straight for plans. And then on the other hand, you're not even thinking about plans yet. You're just thinking about establishing a back and forth interaction, okay? And those are very, very different polar opposites. So when we get into the 4 types of text and how to send all the different types of text, you're evaluating those very, very differently, okay? But again, the first factor you're thinking of is how good was the initial interaction? How much social capital do I have? And that's going to make a massive difference in what text you want to send first.